Hello, friends. We are back for another episode of a Pup In The Life for a new day in a Pup In The Life. In today's episode, I want to state this very clearly a bit before. Actually, a couple of things. First things first. Mom is a bit sick, therefore, this recording might just sound a bit weird, a bit worse than most recordings we did in terms of quality. It's not very, it's not very easy for Mom to, be able to do stuff, and she's trying to rest a bit. Vergola, I don't even want to go. She's trying to rest a bit, and trying to do her best. Just keep going, but resting as well. Second warning is this episode might sound a bit woo-woo. The reason being, if you haven't lived such a thing, you might just think that Mom is, overstating the importance of how you think about things. When in fact, she's not. And I don't know how to put this, but the more you get into the game, the more you realize she's right. And finally, we get to the title of the podcast, which is the meaning of and the content of it all, which is you are probably thinking too small. Now, why do we care? Sorry, this is live streaming. We care because if you keep thinking in tiny amounts, if you keep thinking in tiny increments, if you keep thinking in tiny boxes and opportunities, you are never, ever gonna be able to see outside of it. And what would you want to see outside of it? You might want to see outside of it because the tiny box, the tiny thing, the tiny increments might sound nice and good and comfortable when things are going well. But when things go south, either you have a bigger picture of things or you're not going to get out of it. Now, we already said, just like many of the people that we look at, and we try to convince ourselves that every defeat is psychological because otherwise you're not going to survive them. You're going to look at how really thinking big helps you out understand this as well. Because if you accepted the fact that it is hard, and it's gonna be hard, but somehow it's gonna get better because either you win or you learn, it's gonna be easier to accept the fact that you lost. There is a great song by Coldplay that says, "Just because I'm losing doesn't mean I'm lost." And this is exactly right. Let me give you another example. It is quite easy to understand that in such an economy, such a market, if you're selling online, and even if you're not selling online, think about soccer teams. Usually the person that spends the most wins. This doesn't mean that you need to spend the most, but it means that usually teams that outperform the teams that have less budget tend to stay in the first leagues. They tend to stay higher. They tend to stay in the cups. They tend to stay and perform better than others. Now, it's obvious that it's not always the person who has the most money wins, but the more resources you have, of course, the better you're going to go. And in a market such as the market for ads on social media, if you're, spending 1K a month and somebody else is paying 10K a month, guess who's going to get more clients? 1K is a test size when it's the whole fucking pie that you're thinking of. Now, it's quite hard if you live in a small market like Italy, like mom, for example, or if you tend to think, of course, in tiny increments and in less with less resources. It's quite hard to think like that. It's a very American way of thinking, but at the same time, it's the same way you can find yourself pivoting when things go wrong. It's because you're able to see the bigger picture. You're able to see laterally. You're able to see the opportunities, just as we said, that this problem entails. And is actually hiding from you. And so you're probably thinking too small in terms of the amount of times that also it requires you to do something, to perform a task, to actually being good at it. Why? Because your brain tricks you into thinking that, it's fine. It's fine if you don't do it. It's fine if you avoid it. It's fine if, it's one less. When it's actually not. It's actually never like that. And it is very painful. I know. It's painful also to see that thinking that you're not thinking big enough means that you are way smaller, way less important than you think. Because the world is big, the market is big, opportunities are there. You simply cannot cover them all. You cannot fathom them all. And if you have not so many resources starting from your head, you're just going to be stuck in one single thing and don't see past it. Which is honestly mind-blowing if you think about it. And it's it's very bad. It's very bad because it doesn't serve justice to you. It doesn't serve justice to the time that you spend on things. It doesn't serve justice. And I know, and this goes back to the first thing that we said, we know this is going to sound woo-woo. It's going to be something like, oh my God, like manifest things into reality. Manifest and think about how great of a life you can have. Think about them. Think about it and you're going to be able to pull it off. Well, it's probably not. But once you start thinking of yourself at a higher level, in a higher fashion, in bigger ways, I have no way to explain exactly how I think about it, but in a bigger sense, gonna then be able to start matching your actions to that. The translations of this, and I realized this 8 minutes into this recording, more or less, is probably the fact that long run is actually always the winning bet in regards to short run. And there is an interesting take by actually a person that Alex Hormozy quotes, and I don't remember who this was, that says, even if you have a very bad outcome of something, how about you think that outcome has occurred other times in the past, and artificially you convince yourself that that thing has occurred over and over and over. And that one more time doesn't really seem so painful if it happened all other times in the same way. And so if you had, for example, to go through a breakup, or you lose a client, well, losing clients is easier, and you lost 100 clients before. Is it easier to lose a client than if you just lost 10? Let me give you the answer. Yes, it is. So even if it's true that you miss all the shots that you don't take, you can also miss shots that you take. And it's fine. Because there is a grander scheme of things that you can call faith, you can call life, you can call whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. It's how good you feel with yourself and how well you feel with yourself, because you know that is all part of something. This is not to give it meaning. It doesn't actually have meaning because it's so tiny. that yes, it will shape in the infinitesimal part what your life will look like in 1, 5, 10 years. But to be honest, if you really need to look at it from the grand angle, it's not a wordplay, it would probably mean nothing, except if you compound all of that. So hopefully this gave you, and gave us as well, a way to think about things in a different way, a way to think about life, about work, about how you build yourself in a different way, a way to invest in yourself, even if it's 5 minutes a day, that really can help you out understand that you really need to think bigger. Let us know what you think. Send me business ideas and a bit of bucks. Bye.